All right. Hey, good morning. So it's a couple days after Christmas. I was just going to do an update on where things are at with, in particular, a diet after a holiday, my wrist, a couple other things. A lot of questions that have been asked in the videos that I've put on recently. So I want to touch base, do a little white chalkboard talk on this whole thing, and just get up to date on things. Also, why I'm doing a lot of time lapses right now. So let's go inside where the heat's on and it's a little warmer. All right. Hope you had a really nice Christmas. We had an enjoyable one. It was relaxing. Seemed good. So in relaxing, I was pretty sedentary, didn't move around. So I need to get exercising. I did put on 5 or 6 pounds just because I wasn't getting out and moving around. And of course, eating more than I should. Curious how you folks made out with your holiday as far as your diet. I saw that some people are still doing really well and losing some weight, so that's pretty cool. Had to use this bad boy a few days ago, snow blowing. It didn't hurt my wrist using that. It was really just holding on. I wasn't flexing it or moving it around, so some of you were concerned about that, and I appreciate that. So the video of getting the guys some presents, the stiletto hammers, they're due to arrive in another day or two, and then they'll actually be holding their hammers. So that's pretty exciting. I was flooded with comments. Thank you so much. I am sorry I have not been able to respond to all of them. It was hundreds of comments, and I read every single one and just so enjoy them, but I haven't been able to respond back. And usually I like to. Again, I apologize. Sorry I wasn't able to. Please keep them coming. I just really enjoy reading each one. Some of the comments talked about construction on other videos that I've done about, typically the typical one is about a concrete slab. I do want to address that in just a minute. We'll put it on a whiteboard and show what I do that makes it work. We've done close to 400 garages or so, I've lost count, over a 35-year period, and we've had really good results with it. So I'd just like to show why I do what I do. The other thing is, this time of year, right now it's the end of December. We are done working. We've gone as far as we can, and I need a break physically a little bit for this. Probably won't heal up on its own, I don't think. I went to a physical therapist that's a good friend of mine. Super guy. He manipulated this quite a bit last week and got it so that it could move around, but he says there's likely the ligament that is torn. There's a little tiny bone in the wrist, and he showed me on a diagram of what that does, and if the ligament isn't there, that bone, like, he can adjust it and get it so it's back where it's supposed to be, but because it's not being held properly in place, it's going to keep doing what it does. So it's going to be January, I can't remember, 7th or 11th. I've got it written down, where I will go and see the orthopedist, and hopefully they'll maybe do an MRI or something and figure out what to do about that, because I really can't work effectively. I can do stuff, but it's just not comfortable. So let's move on to something else. One of the top most asked questions is, if this is just a little mock-up, if this was the bottom plate of a wall sitting on the concrete, there's a whole bunch of things here I need to address. First of all, we always put sill seal underneath the plate. This isn't pressure treated, but we always use pressure treated so that it's pressure treated sitting on the sill seal on the concrete. So it's protected, not like spruce. Spruce comes down onto the treated. So another thing people ask about is anchor bolts. How do we do that? Why do we do what we do? If we cast the anchor bolts in the concrete, sometimes it's an issue of the anchor bolt gets placed like where it comes in the way of a stud, and then we have to cut that off and drill and put a wedge anchor in anyways. So we just forego the anchor bolts. There are a few reasons. One is the anchor bolts. If you put those in and you haven't finished the concrete, when you're power troweling and you're going around, you have to be super careful around those anchor bolts. If you ever catch one, then it tears up your blade on your power trowel, and then you've got this notch or a nick in the trowel, and the whole rest of the slab is going to have that little scar mark going all the way around. And I only know that because it happened. And so I said to myself, no, I won't do that again unless I absolutely have to. We did a garage this year. Someone else did the concrete, and they put anchor bolts in, and half of them, well, half, out of 20 or 25 anchor bolts, we had to cut off 5 or 6 of them and go with the wedge anchors. So it was kind of a, how do I express this? Just didn't work well. So what we do, we set the wall, and then we can put the anchor bolt pretty much anywhere. We'll drill through with one percussion masonry bit, drill right through the wood down into the concrete, and then get all of the loose cement out of the concrete, and we'll pound a wedge anchor in, tighten it down, and away we go. For us, it's much easier. We can line the wall up to get it nice and straight, and if there's any adjusting, we have that freedom to do it. So that is why we do that. Something else, another question. And now with the whiteboard, by far the most often asked question about doing garages is the slab, the concrete slab. The question is asked, how do I get away with doing what I do? It's a monolithic floating slab is what we do. So people ask, how can you do that? It's going to just fall apart in a year or two. So we've done this for 35 years. We've done, I think I just mentioned, over 400 garages this way, and with great results. And if you go back and look at those slabs, they're in perfect condition. One of the deteriorants, I think that's a word, is if you put salt on the concrete. Concrete and salt don't get along. So that's probably the most common thing that happens with slabs over the years. But I want to address why they work. If you have a hilly piece of land, we'll say, like that, and you just like take the topsoil off, don't prep the site at all, and you just pour a slab there, that's not a good setting because you're going to get water running down and pooling down in there. The water's going to sit and it'll get underneath here and it will heave the slab and it'll crack it all up. So that is not acceptable. You don't want that. You need to have, wherever you do it, we did one this year where it was built into a bank, so we did have to go with frost walls and retaining walls. It was a much more expensive procedure. So if you have, what you need is land or ground that slope, this is exaggerated, it can be even less than that. But with this, and I'll show a better detailed concrete slab here in a minute. So if that's the concrete, the surface water is going to run away. You don't want it coming, you don't want ground coming down so that water is running to the slab, because that would not be good. The other thing is, if you have a clay type material, that won't work. You can't have clay under concrete. Concrete will sit there. It will not crack on its own. It takes another force to move it to crack. So let me erase this a little bit. Let's go a little bit flatter. So we'll have ground similar to that. Going to put the garage here. So if you have some material that doesn't drain well, you need to excavate that and fill it with gravel, something that's well drained, crushed gravel, crusher run, and have it compacted so that water will drain, and it needs to go out beyond where the slab is. We don't go very deep. We'll go a few inches deeper. And then the slab will be on top of it. So this footing perimeter, which is not a whole lot thicker, has rebar in it. We put rebar every 2 feet, spaced going both directions. So there's a mat of rebar. This is looking down on it. It looks like tic-tac-toe. Rebar going all the way around, and rebar out to the edges. Excuse me. All tied off, and it's spaced. We put plastic down right on the ground. Then we'll space the rebar so it's up a couple of inches off the ground, above the plastic, so that the concrete wraps completely around the rebar to tie it all together. I could give it a little depth here. So you have this thicker perimeter. Again, you need good gravel base and the allowance for water to run away. Some people will even do a footing drain all the way around and then drain it to daylight somewhere, so that if there was an opportunity for water to build up, it would go in the drain and go away. So we've had excellent results with that. That's how we do it. All right. Another commonly asked question is, how long does it take to build a garage? We will typically spend a day or two here in the shop framing the walls, getting all the components cut that we can, and then we'll load it on the trailer. And the reason we do that is it saves us, if the job's an hour away and we've worked here for a day, we've saved an hour for however many people are working per day for labor by doing it here. Because we're more efficient here. We have a framing table that we use, and all the tools are here. Pretty much everything is set up. And if it's a rainy day, we can work inside. So it eliminates days lost, which in the construction field, I mean, when it rains, it's hard to work outside, catch a cold and whatever. So that's why we build in the shop. It takes us on site where, depending on how many people are working and the size of the garage, a week to 2 weeks on site, depending on the size of the job and the number of people. So that's the answer to that question. Because we're not working now, we're doing, I'm doing a lot of time lapses. And the idea is to do one that is start to finish so you can see it all in one video. Typically these garages I've done, they might be 3 or 4 up to a dozen videos of one garage, because there's so much detail that I put in as we're doing the garage. So these are kind of a compacting everything together and putting it in one video so that you can see start to finish. And it's kind of, it takes, typically I try to get it around a half hour, 25 minutes for these videos. I think there's going to be maybe another 6 or 8 more time lapses through this winter. I'll try to do more videos like this that are more conversational as well as instructional of what I do. I want to do one on the metal brake. I don't know if you can see that. The metal brake is something we use for doing fascia on the garages. It's a they call it a brake, but it's a bender. Mine is a little bit heavier duty, so that a lot of people will take them out onto the job site, but it's just too bulky. It's a couple hundred pounds, so it's just, and a lot of parts. I'll show you how we bend things with that. That's kind of fun. I enjoy doing that. We can do those ahead. We'll also cut soffit, things like that ahead, so that and then we'll package them up. So when we get on site, we are assembling and try to cut down on the cutting on site. So I think I've covered everything that needs to be covered at this point. Hope you're having a good holiday if you're off this week. And I'm going to try to exercise more. I need to walk, get moving around to work on this because I haven't been eating unhealthy stuff. It's been just sitting and eating something, and so that's what we're going to do. It's kind of cold in here. I haven't turned the heat on. I think it's down to around 35 degrees in here, so I'm getting cold. I'm going to stop talking. Hope you have a great day, great week, and I won't have a new video out till next year, which is 5 days away. We will have time lapses coming out for a while. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you.